on KX News at 10. Another day, another protest in North Dakota. We'll have all the details from a group of small-town activists. And we're talking to some local state Senate candidates ahead of Election Day, June 9th. Plus, college students are being warned of a scam going around, how to avoid it ahead.
Putting North Dakota first. KX News at 10 starts now.
Good evening, I'm Renee Cooper. Thanks for watching KX News. Leading our coverage tonight, protests sparked by the in-custody death of George Floyd are still happening around the world. And today, high school students in rural North Dakota kept the momentum going. PJ Walker was there and has all the details.
Rugby, North Dakota is one of the last places anyone might have expected to see a racial justice protest, which is exactly why organizers planned it.
Why not? There shouldn't be a reason why we shouldn't bring it here. It's not a negative thing. In fact, it's extremely positive.
Kate Heidelbaugh is a recent graduate of Rugby High School, and like many others, she says she was outraged by the injustices seen across America.
We want to stand in solidarity with those who are part of the Black Lives Matters movement.
Close to 50 people gathered in the streets of Rugby for a peaceful march, some from far and some from near, chanting the names of those who died at the hands of police officers. One of the marchers was Jared Munson from Bottineau.
I think we're all here for the same reason, and that's to end the systematic and institutionalized oppression of colored people.
Another organizer of the event says the response from the community was mixed, some supporting the march and others speaking out against it. She says the comments pushed her to do the march and change the mindset of small towns across the world.
Small towns are not exempt from activism.
Even though there were some people lined along the streets of the town who disagreed, Melody Johnson says being silent isn't an option for her.
White people like me, it's our responsibility to get rid of racism. Like, black people don't deserve this. Like, this should have been gone so many years ago.
And with voices like hers being echoed across the world, change is on the way. PJ Walker, KX News.
Well, the marchers had police officers there to escort them around town as they marched. Both organizers say the event was a peaceful and powerful display of love for all people. Well, in Minneapolis, a peaceful protest today called for the defunding of the city's police department. It ended with Mayor Jacob Frey being booed from the crowd. A massive group of protesters walked the streets of Minneapolis. It didn't look like Mayor Frey was really supposed to be a part of this. At least 1,000 people had been marching for hours, and when they stopped outside of his house, the mayor came out and just took a seat with everyone. Watch what happens when he's persuaded to come up to the front.
It is a yes or a no. Will you defund the Minneapolis Police Department?
Mayor Jacob Frey answered he didn't support the full abolition of MPD, and before he could finish, we caught up with Frey minutes later. He said it's not about having everyone on his side, but about making the necessary changes.
If you're asking whether I'm for massive structural reform to revise a structurally racist system, the answer is yes. If you're asking whether I will do everything possible to push back on the inherent inequities that are literally built into the architecture, the answer is yes.
The message to heavily defund police was shared right at the start of the protest, including from Congresswoman Ilhan Omar.
But we need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department.
Protest organizers say the money should be directed toward mental health resources, affordable housing, and solutions to the opioid epidemic.
We aren't here for no police reform. None of you fought so hard to get me elected so that I can co-sign on a system that continues to oppress us.
For about 2 miles, protesters chanted,
"Hey, hey, ho, ho! These killer cops have got to go!"
Stopped in the street to dance and pray, no closer to convincing the mayor of their abolitionist cause.
Anger and frustration expressing your First Amendment rights is always fair. And although I'm taking the heat, at times it's tough, I'm here nonetheless.
As hostile as the crowd was toward Mayor Frey, some people did approach him afterward and offer their support for him. He may have some opposition on his city council, though. A veto-proof majority of Minneapolis City Council members announced later today that they are planning to disband the police department. Now turning to our COVID-19 North Dakota Watch, health officials say 45 additional people have tested positive for COVID-19 in North Dakota as of today, bringing the state total to 2,861 cases. North Dakota has confirmed 72 deaths from complications of the coronavirus, but no new deaths were reported today. 28 people are hospitalized, currently down 1 from Saturday. The health department reports 2,307 people are considered recovered now, an increase of 39 people since yesterday's report. Now, this means there are 482 active COVID-19 cases. 31 of the positive cases reported today were in Cass County, which remains the epicenter of the state's coronavirus outbreak. The county that contains Fargo now has more than 1,900 confirmed cases, or 66% of all positive cases in the state. Grand Forks County has 337 total cases. Burleigh County is a distant third with 142 total cases. Stark County is fourth with 62. Morton County is fifth with 60 cases, and Ward County has 44. Montreal County has 43 cases. Now, for the latest information on the coronavirus, including a recap of the governor's news conferences, resources, the latest numbers, and prevention, that is all on our website. That's kxnet.com. Well, the Federal Trade Commission is warning people about COVID-19 scams targeting college students. Scammers are sending out emails like these, posing as financial aid agents. They're sending phishing links related to government-issued stimulus checks that require students to use their university login info. We spoke with UND Police Lieutenant Danny Weigel, who says to check into everything about the person who's sending the email. If you're unsure about how to handle it after that, call your local police department.
I think the big thing is doing a little research, and typically if something seems too good to be true, usually it is.
Lieutenant Weigel says although these scams may have hit many college campuses nationwide, he hasn't seen it at UND as of yet. KX News is your local election headquarters, and just a few days ahead of the June election, we're bringing you a preview of the state Senate seat for District 34, which is up on the ballot. Nakaya Carrero spoke with 2 Republican candidates seeking the position.
The District 34 seat from Mandan was previously occupied by State Senator Dwight Cook, who now retired after 6 terms. The 2 candidates up for the Republican nomination are business owner Doug Larson and oil executive Al Anderson.
As a lifelong North Dakotan, we have North Dakota values. We believe that the government should be of the people, by the people, for the people. Not special interests.
I've always put North Dakota first, and I'm excited about the future of Mandan, especially going forward, and I will work very hard to represent the people of District 34, or Mandan, very well. And like I said, I'll be accountable and accessible to them through the whole time.
Doug Larson, a North Dakota National Guardsman, owns several businesses across the Mandan area, including Apex Builders. Larson says he is running because he feels like it's time North Dakota takes back its legislature. He says politicians have too many special interests. The first thing on his agenda, responsible spending.
Our spending has been out of control for a number of years, whether it be pet projects or just increases where the increases weren't necessary. We've finally, due to a pandemic, decided that we need to cut the spending. This is something that if we had cut the spending originally and only spent responsibly in the past, we wouldn't have such a painful task in front of us.
Al Anderson, a former Marine, Mandan refinery manager, and a North Dakota Commerce Commissioner, says he will use the skills he has acquired to help kickstart the state's economy. His number 1 goal is to keep taxes low.
I think one of the things that's important to all of the constituents, at least in District 34, is making sure our taxes are low and really to get some permanent property tax relief going forward.
Whoever wins the primary election this upcoming Tuesday will face off with Adam Michael, the only Democratic candidate running for the seat. Reporting for KX News in Mandan, I'm Nakaya Carrero.
Well, Senator Cook announced last July that he would not be running for a 7th term. And now, here are some of the top stories of the week from KX News, in case you missed it. Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney has issued an emergency declaration in light of the riots happening in the city. About an hour later, a dumpster barricade set up by the protesters on First Avenue North caught fire as protesters smashed windows of downtown businesses. By 6:30 a.m., with no organized effort, volunteers showed up to shovel and sweep away the glass, the stones, and the memories of last night.
Couldn't sleep. I was up at 4:45 and thought, I'm gonna head down.
Protests continue in the name of George Floyd, and tonight in the Peace Garden State.
Protesters began marching from 23rd and Main Avenue all the way to the state capitol.
I have 2 black sons. They're our future. I'm scared for them to grow up. I've been telling everybody they're cute kids, but when do they turn scary? And when does everybody fear them?
Agencies from across the state will also be heading east to honor Officer Cody Hulte.
It's never easy losing a brother or sister, especially in a place that you worked at before coming here. It means the world that we can send him off in the right way.
The number of unresolved cybersecurity incidents in the state has nearly doubled since state employees and public schools began working from home. The type of information out there includes social security numbers, financial data, addresses, and the list goes on.
Unfortunately, I think this is the new reality. We're all going to have to just be hyper vigilant about, all these sorts of strange things that seem to be happening around our personas on the internet.
Stay tuned. Coming up next on KX News.